Hey, it's Gabby from the travel blog Pax Light, and I'm here on the island of St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands to tell you more about my trip and specifically how much was my flight to a place that I did not know I was going. So you should know there are a few things I did before I drove to the airport. Number one, I Googled what time my airport opened so that I would know what time to get there to start asking different airline attendants what flights were available that day. And secondly, I Googled which airlines were serviced by that airport. So I have 3 airports around me, 2 of them are international. I chose the one that serviced the most airlines so that I would have the most options for an international getaway. I chose BWI in my case specifically because it had the most airline options. So I think BWI has more than 9 airlines it services, including AIRLINES, which goes to Ireland, British Airways, which goes to Britain, JetBlue, Delta, United, and they all go around the world and of course around the country. So I thought that was my best shot. And of course, I told you I Googled it, and Google said that BWI opened at 4:30. So our plan was to get there at 4:45 when we knew at least most of the airline desks would be full. And yeah, that was our plan, just to wake up, drive there, and ask each individual airline desk what was their cheapest flight to anywhere we had never been before, hopefully internationally, and just ask them. And then we were planning to go to each airline desk, ask them, and then come together and choose the cheapest, best priced, most interesting place. And one thing I want to specify is that I said cheapest. We did not go into this expecting the trip to be inexpensive. Inexpensive means not a lot of money. Cheap means less money compared to the other options. So we went in going for cheapest. So if the cheapest flight that day to somewhere we had never been was $1,000, that's what we were going to pay. So I'm telling you now that this adventure is not something you want to be doing if this is a budget trip, because last minute accommodations, last minute airfare, last minute excursions, they could save you a lot of money, but more than likely they're going to actually end up costing you a bit more. So I'll get more into the details on costs in a second. So yeah, we're at BWI. We walk in. I think the first desk that we went to was JetBlue. We asked them, what is the cheapest ticket to anywhere today? And they said, oh, well, where do you want to go? And we said anywhere. And that was our first hurdle, is that JetBlue said, oh, we can book you a ticket, but you have to know where you want to go. I can't just book, they can't look up the cheapest flight in their system. So we said, oh, okay, well, we're just gonna go to the next airline desk, see what they say, and we'll regroup if we have to. So we went to the next one. The next one I think was Delta. We asked Delta the same question, where's your cheapest flight today to anywhere, internationally, hopefully. And she said, yeah, we don't do that. And if I book that for you, and if I do book that for you, it'll be actually a premium surcharge as an emergency fare. So if there's an emergency, usually a death or a family emergency, spousal emergency, you can book a last minute flight at the desk for Delta, but they'll charge you a premium because I actually don't know why, service fee or something. If there's an extra seat on a plane, I don't know why they would charge you extra for you to sit in it when you could book the same flight online, but whatever. So that's what they said. Delta was not helpful. And I did end up flying Delta, but I will get to that in a second. Next, we went to United and we asked them, hey, same question, where can we go? Cheapest flight today. And they said, we don't do that at all. We only book online and by phone. You can call the 1-800 number or you can book online. Those are your only options. And I think we tried Spirit, but the line was really, really long. I do know Spirit does this regularly, so that's a great option if you can get there on time. But by 4:45, the Spirit line was already out the door. So if I wanted to do that again, I would get there maybe before the airport opened or go straight to Spirit and sit in line, because I do know they do this. The line was too long for us to wait. So we checked out a few more airline desks that got similar answers. So at the end of the day, we could not book at the airline desk. We could not book a ticket at the airline desk without paying an emergency premium or without having a destination in mind. So while we're at the airport, we had to get on Google Flights and check out the cheapest flights. And that's how we ended up on St. Thomas, because Delta has a flight that left here. We were there at 6:30 trying to figure this out. And they had a flight that left at 8:30 to come to St. Thomas. So we were like, in order to not miss that flight, we'll just book online and then show up. So we booked online seamlessly, same day, booked it online, and then 5 minutes later walked up with our online tickets and had no problem getting on the flight. The thing is, this is my experience. By posting this online, I've already gotten feedback that other people have done this regularly as in someone said they do this 3 times a year, just walk up to the airline desk and order a flight. And other people have done this in the past once or twice, and it's worked out great for them. So it depends on so much, and that's why you guys, when you ask me how much did my flight cost, I really don't know why you're asking me that, because it is not going to help you. How does my flight cost help you? What you need to know is that you need to research your airport to know what airlines they service. Research what time they open so you can get there as early as possible. You need to plan for which airports you leave out of and which airport you come back to, which definitely affected my price. How many days you're going to be there, what days you're going to fly out, what time you're going to fly out, the time of day that you go, the time of year you try this. It was easier to get a cheap flight to St. Thomas right now because it's not their high season. If I tried this in December, I never would have come to St. Thomas. And finally, it all really depends on the attitude of the front desk person, because some people at the front desk were really excited for us and they wanted to help us as much as they can, even if they couldn't. And some people were already at 4:30 a.m. They were already kind of shut down and busy and saying, I can't help you, gas someone else, or like, that doesn't happen, like, get out of the line. So it depends on the attitude of the front desk person. So finally, how much did my flight cost? Again, before I tell you this, you need to know that we wanted to fly out that same day, preferably that morning, and that we wanted to go somewhere we had never been. So if I just did the cheapest flight domestically or internationally, regardless, I think the cheapest flight was $138 round trip to Memphis, Tennessee. I don't want to go to Memphis. I wanted to go somewhere I'd never been, somewhere exciting. So I chose St. Thomas, not because it was the absolute cheapest, but because it was the cheapest place I had never been. So take that into account. And also, our ticket prices changed because we had to buy 2 one-ways. So I flew out of BWI, which is in Maryland, and I wanted to fly back to DCA, which is in Washington, D.C., which is 2 minutes from my house, because I didn't want to fly back to BWI and then pay for an Uber in the middle of the night back to my house. So I didn't choose the cheapest airport. So if I flew back to BWI or maybe another airport, it could have been cheaper. Just know that. And my friend Hannah, who came with me, wanted to fly back to New York, so that affected our prices. So how much did my flight cost? It cost a one-way from BWI to St. Thomas with a layover in Atlanta, cost $129. That's one way. The flight back, which is much more limited, I think there's 1 or 2 flights a day from St. Thomas to DC, and has a connection PR, that cost $449. But for me, one of the reasons I went along with this and booked it is because I have credit card travel points. So I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card, and I used my credit card points to pay for the flight back. So for me, the round trip cost out of pocket was $129. Total, if I had paid for it cash, would have been $560. But at the same time, if I was paying out of cash and I knew that, I would have stayed till Monday, because I checked on Monday and the flight from St. Thomas to DC was, I think, $250 or $300, which would have saved me money. So, you know, my flight cost I don't think helps you, because I had such special circumstances. And if I was doing this again for money or for a company who would have paid me, or like for you guys specifically, I would have done it differently to help you the best that I can, and like really done like an objective hypothesis research study. But I did this for me because I wanted a vacation, and that's why I chose the place I did and the time I did, and using the financial resources that I had, including credit card travel points. And my friend Hannah, who's with me, she used her Delta credit that she had from a long layover in the past. They gave her like a Delta credit, and she used that, so her flight was cheap too. So that's how much my trip cost, and that's how my experience went walking into the airport and trying to book a flight. And you should know, I asked other people, and they said that they do this regularly. Different countries have different airport rules. I think someone from Spain, they said they do this regularly with their airlines, and it's no problem. And I've had other people say that they sit on standby and go throughout that route. So there's many other options, but this is what you asked for. This is how expensive my flight was for my spontaneous trip to the Virgin Islands and St. Thomas. I hope that helps you. I hope that gives you some clarity. This has been a really spontaneous, random trip, and I've loved doing it so far, and I've a lot more to tell you guys about how I packed for this, how I planned for this, how we got accommodations here. There's so much more to tell, so subscribe below, comment below, like it, ask any more questions you have in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. And yeah, you know, let's go. All right, bye.